Patrick Ryder, First Deputy Commissioner Finton McCormick, Acting Sheriff Robert Matarazzo, and Corrections Commissioner Mike Sposato. And I'm going to turn my phone off at this time so we're not interrupted. I want to be very clear about this law. This law is written in the blood of the victims, past, present, and future. This law is completely misguided and will make our communities less safe. We have a governor and a legislature that every major criminal justice initiative makes it easier for criminals to prey on our communities. Instead of being concerned about the safety of our neighborhoods, these laws make it harder for law enforcement to keep our communities safe, and that is something that I think is a total disgrace on the part of the governor and the legislature. Just recently, I want to go through some of the migrant crimes that have been committed here in New York State. Rape. Nelson Gabriel Benagas Lopez, an illegal migrant from Honduras, is charged with second-degree rape and endangering the welfare of a 14-year-old child from Hicksville. He's alleged to have committed this act as recently as just a few days ago. Sheridan Gorman, we all know her story. The Westchester County 18-year-old girl who was killed by a migrant in Chicago, where Illinois has the same laws that have been enacted here by our legislature and signed into law by the governor. Gunned down and killed at the age of 18. She's not going to be at the Thanksgiving Day table this year. She's not going to be under the tree opening her Christmas presents this year. Her family is devastated. Recently in Nassau County, 2 young women were stabbed in Oceanside and Valley Stream by an illegal migrant from El Salvador. Ana del Aguila Cordova and Eddie R. Hernandez Castillo were both murdered by someone who should not have been here, who entered this country illegally. Arson. In the last few weeks, our police arrested Elder Lopez Avados, an illegal migrant from Guatemala who committed multiple acts of arson all across Nassau County during the course of the year. Because we had good police work, we were able to apprehend this individual. Because of Kathy Hochul's cashless bail laws, this individual would have been released to the public to commit more arsons. Kathy Hochul, what do you have to do? You got to wait until this guy burns down a building with young children before you wake up to how you're making it less safe for people to live in their communities? Luckily, and because of the agreement that we had with ICE picked this individual up. Drugs and our recent gun takedown of illegal guns that were being peddled in our county. Massive drug and gun takedown occurred last month involving 3 illegal migrants. This led to the seizure of 47 illegal firearms. Kathy Hochul, you say you want to get guns off the street? You want gun control? This is a place to start. Illegal migrants peddling 47 illegal handguns. 1 kilo of cocaine, 150 grams of heroin, all seized by our police department. And as I said, all 3 were alleged to have committed these crimes. They were illegal migrants. The Nassau County Police Department made one of the largest gang takedowns in county history a year ago. We arrested 42 criminals from gangs like MS-13, the 18th Street Gang, and the Trinitarios. 33 of the 42 arrested people would have been released on cashless bail. However, because of our cooperation with ICE, they were given and handed over to the custody of ICE. What is it going to take? Going forward, every murder, every rape, every robbery, every burglary, every drug overdose committed by a legal migrant is on the hands of Kathy Hochul and the Democrats in our state legislature. It will be blood on their hands. We have reviewed this law with the county attorneys, and we looked for every possible way not to comply with this law. However, it was concluded that we would have to abide by the law. I am a law and order county executive. I believe in the rule of law, even when it's a bad law. And this is a very, very bad and dangerous law. But we don't get to pick and choose the laws that we have to enforce or abide by. But we can remember those elected officials that produce these terrible and bad laws that will lead to mayhem and violence and drug overdoses in our communities here in Nassau County and throughout the state of New York. As of 4:05 p.m. yesterday, the county attorney of Nassau County sent a letter to ICE indicating that we would comply with the technicalities of the law. At 4:05, at the same time, simultaneously, we complied with the subpoena that was issued by the Attorney General, even though there was no basis for the subpoena. There was nothing in the law that indicated we had to comply. But we sent the termination notices. This is one of the saddest days of my life as county executive, that because of this terrible and bad law that we have to adhere to, I know it's going to make it more dangerous here in Nassau County. Our police commissioner, Patrick Ryder, has said it's going to make us less safe. Our sheriff has told us it will be less safe. All of our law enforcement professionals have said that it's less safe. And I want to say something to Kathy Hochul directly. You talk about the atrocities of ICE. You said that yesterday. Name one. Every illegal migrant with a criminal record that we removed from this county was done without raiding one church, without raiding a school, without raiding a daycare center or a hospital. Because our local law enforcement cooperated with ICE, we had none of those such occurrences. I don't know what atrocities you're talking about. I met with sheriffs from around the state who filed a lawsuit to overturn this disastrous law, and I am directing the acting sheriff Matarazzo, through our county attorney, to join that lawsuit to get the federal government to overturn this law, which will make it less safe to live in this county, this region, and this state. At this time, I want to congratulate the Nassau County Police Department, our corrections officers, for the outstanding job they did working with ICE. You are truly a model of law enforcement professionals in America. And as Nassau County Executive, on behalf of the almost 1.5 million residents of Nassau County, thank you for the way that you dispatched your duties with such a high level of care and professionalism. I want to thank our federal partners in ICE. You worked with us. We worked together. You never overstepped your bounds. It was a true partnership, and it's one that I regret will be handcuffed by this insane law. To speak on behalf of ICE, we have Brian Flanagan, who we are very fortunate to have as our partner in federal government, and we will continue to work with ICE. We will continue to work with ICE, but we will abide by the technicalities of the law. Brian? Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive Blakeman, Police Commissioner Ryder, Commissioner Sposato, and Acting Sheriff Matarazzo. As you know, yesterday marked the state-imposed deadline for the termination of all 287G agreements in New York, ending ICE partnerships with local law enforcement agencies, including those here in Nassau County. Today, I am here to highlight the benefits of the 287G program and the significant consequences of eliminating it in New York. State officials describe this as a measure to keep local police focused on local crimes. But in practice, ending 287G removes a public safety tool used to identify criminal aliens in the community or who are already in custody. The 287G program is a lawful, structured program. It allows specially trained local personnel to work alongside ICE to identify individuals who may be subject to arrest or who have been arrested and may also be subject to federal immigration enforcement. That coordination helps ensure that criminal offenders are effectively addressed, whether encountered in the community or while in a secure custodial environment. Eliminating these agreements does not make communities safer. It can instead shift the safety risk from the jail to the street. Individuals who could have been identified and transferred to federal custody may instead be released before ICE can act, requiring officers to locate and apprehend them later in public settings. This creates a process that is not only less efficient and more resource intensive, but also potentially dangerous for officers and our communities. Public trust matters. Public safety matters just as much. Those goals are not mutually exclusive. Properly managed 287G partnerships include training, defined authorities, and accountability measures. They are intended to focus resources on individuals who come into contact with law enforcement through criminal arrest or detention, not to replace local policing priorities. New Yorkers deserve a clear understanding of what ended yesterday. This decision has removed a proven public safety tool. It ended cooperation that helped local law enforcement and ICE address criminal offenders in the community and already in custody. But make no mistake, ICE will continue doing its job. We will protect communities, we will support law enforcement, and we will work to ensure criminal offenders subject to federal immigration enforcement do not avoid accountability simply because New York restricted cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. God bless you and the men and women of ICE. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. We have any questions?
You said you're going to follow the technicalities of the law. Can you be more specific as to exactly what you're going to follow? How are you going to work with ICE still?
We are going to continue to work with ICE. However, we will adhere to the technicalities of the law.
Can you talk about what that looks like in practice, that working with them, but also following?
We're going to work with ICE as we do every other federal partner, including the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, the Secret Service. We're going to continue working with them. However, we will adhere to the technicalities of the law.
Sir, what are those technicalities?
Basically, I'll leave that to the lawyers to discuss, but we have sent out a memorandum, a legal memorandum internally for our police department. Our police commissioner sent it out, and it explains exactly what those technicalities are and what should be done in the various circumstances that might arise.
Will ICE still be able to work out of the Nassau County Jail?
No, their agreement no longer exists for that particular purpose as per the law.
My understanding was that the law prohibited the counties from engaging in civil, working with ICE on civil immigration enforcement, but not criminal. So what's to prevent the county from continuing to work on these criminal cases with ICE?
So basically, now we have to go back to the old way where we can't detain them until ICE comes. We can't touch the defendants once they're released for 48 hours. Am I right with that, Commissioner?
Mr. Raymond, correct.
So, Mr. Blakeman, is the basic point of what you're saying that most of these people would have been released from custody under the bail laws, but for the ability to hold them until ICE comes to pick them
Yes,
up?
yes, especially the circumstances of the drug dealing and the circumstances of the arson. They would have been released on cashless bail. Can you imagine releasing an arsonist? And anybody who studies criminal justice knows that arsonists can't stop. They always are looking for bigger and bigger targets. So if they burn down an apartment building here in Nassau County, maybe then Kathy Hochul will wake up. Look at all those people. What community does Kathy Hochul want these people to come back to? Every major criminal justice initiative in this state under Kathy Hochul has been to make it easier for criminals to operate, cashless bail, which is insane.
Is there any other scenario in the cases that you've described here that involved cooperation outside of the alleged?
We are going to cooperate. We are going to
All in jail?
We are going to continue to cooperate with ICE, but we will adhere to the technicalities of the law.
How does this impact the detectives who were deputized as ICE agents? If they're technically,
They are no longer ICE agents.
What about cooperation with ICE that falls outside of 287G, like the probation department alerting federal agents to court-ordered appearances that is addressed in the law? Will that also stop?
Whatever we are allowed to do within the confines of the law, we will do. This law has been enacted for political purposes, not to make us safer, not to be fair, not to make for better communities. This law was enacted for political purposes, to try and embarrass ICE. You know what? I'm glad so many people from the media are here, because all I keep seeing is things that happened 2 years ago with ICE over and over again. How many times have you reported about Elder Lopez Avalos and his rape or alleged rape of a 14-year-old Hicksville girl, or the arsonists, or the drug dealers, or those who were selling illegal guns in our county, or the 2 girls who were murdered? How many times did you write that story? I watch the news daily. You write about ICE, something that happened in Minneapolis or some other place, when right here in your own backyard, 2 women who were illegal migrants were killed by someone who was in this country illegally. You hear virtually nothing from the media. Sheridan Gorman. You want to know what painful is? To have to be with them when they talk about their beautiful 18-year-old daughter who would be here but for the sanctuary policies that they had in Illinois that are a mirror image of the policies that we have in the state of New York. When are we going to start worrying about the safety of New Yorkers and care about New Yorkers and care about our communities and the safety of our communities? This law is purely political. It's not designed to make us safer. It's designed to make us less safe, to prove a political point. This is a very sad day in the history of our state, and I hope you report it that way. Thank you very much.